Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking a deep breath and wading into one of the most complex, really personal, and often sort of avoided questions in modern relationships.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Is it okay for a couple, partners in a committed relationship to watch pornography together?
It is a huge question, and the sources we looked at for you, they're fascinating because they really refuse to give a simple yes or no answer.
Right, no easy answers here.
Not at all. So our mission today is really to move past that, that immediate judgment maybe, and look at it through a few lenses. Individual psychology, relationship dynamics, and morality too.
And the core insight we found, and this is so crucial, it really sets the stage, is that the act itself, it's kind of inner. Watching porn together isn't inherently good or bad.
Exactly. It's like a tool. Its impact is determined entirely by the architecture of the relationship using it.
Architecture, I like that.
Yeah, it depends on the context, the why behind it, the communication you already have, and maybe most importantly, the mutual consent. You tweak any of those things, and the outcome completely shifts.
Okay, so let's unpack this word okay. Because before we even get into the pros and cons, the sources were really clear. We need a framework. They say okay has to mean okay across, 4 different dimensions.
Yeah, like a checklist you need to run through.
What's the first one?
First up, is it morally or ethically? Okay. Does this actually align with the values, the moral codes you both genuinely share? If it clashes with one person's fundamental beliefs, well, it's a non-starter right there.
Makes sense.
Second, and this is a big one, is it relationally? Okay. Does doing this actually strengthen your connection? Or does it introduce friction, maybe suspicion, or, somehow damage the intimacy you have?
And third, the personal impact, right?
Exactly. Is it psychologically? Okay. What's the effect on self-esteem, on body image, on the mental well-being for both people? If one person comes away feeling inadequate or compared, it's just not okay.
And finally, the practical side.
Yeah, the ground level test. Is it practically okay? Is it actually enjoyable for both of you? Does it make you both feel safe, respected, secure?
So if you can't kick all 4 of those boxes with a confident yes?
Then the sources pretty much say the potential harm heavily outweighs any potential benefit you might be imagining.
Okay, so let's dive into those foundational prerequisites, the non-negotiables. Before a couple even thinks about hitting play, the sources are unanimous. Certain things have to be solidly in place.
Otherwise, any potential upside just crumbles into, relationship damage.
So what's the absolute #1 critical thing?
It's got to be enthusiastic and ongoing consent, and we really need to stress both words.
Enthusiastic and ongoing.
Yes. It's not enough to just kind of grudgingly agree because you don't want to let your partner down. The consent really needs to come from a genuine, positive want to participate.
I thought the way the sources broke down consent was really helpful here. It's not just a quick short. It needs to be informed consent.
Right. Meaning you both actually get what you're signing up for, what the content might be like.
And, as you said, enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Not pressured.
And the third part of that, maybe the most crucial for safety, is that it has to be revocable.
Meaning?
Meaning either partner has to feel completely, utterly safe, no doubt about it, to say, stop, or not tonight, or I'm not feeling this anymore, without facing judgment or retaliation or feeling like they have to explain themselves endlessly.
That safety net has to be there.
It's totally non-negotiable. If it's not, you're already in a coercive space, even if it doesn't feel overt.
That makes total sense. And that leads right into the next point. Open, honest, and non-judgmental communication. This is where you talk about the why, isn't it?
Exactly. The motives matter so much. And this is honestly where a lot of couples can get tripped up. A healthy motive could be something like, hey, let's explore our desires together. Maybe this can help.
But the problematic motive.
Oh, yeah. The sources really warn about those, like trying to use porn to fix your partner's low libido.
The educational approach.
Right. Or pressuring them into acts they're uncomfortable with by showing them, see, other people do it. That's not intimacy. That's manipulation. The motive is just wrong.
And good communication means setting boundaries first.
Yeah.
Right? Like what genres are okay, what's definitely off limits.
Absolutely. You have to talk about specific acts, themes, whatever beforehand. If you don't, you're basically setting a trap for someone to stumble into something potentially upsetting or even traumatic later. You build the container first.
And all of this, the consent, the communication, it assumes something else is already there, doesn't it?
It assumes a pre-existing foundation of trust. This isn't a tool to build trust if it's broken.
Right.
If the relationship is already shaky, dealing with insecurity, maybe past infidelity, jealousy, introducing this kind of external visual stuff, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire.
It won't fix the jealousy, it just gives it a specific face to latch onto.
Precisely. It's really an activity for relationships that are already secure, not something designed to fix insecure ones.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. Assuming a couple has those foundations, trust, open communication, real consent, what are the potential upsides? What can this actually offer? Because this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, and the benefits highlighted in the sources are often less about the sex itself and more about, well, communication again. It can be a powerful catalyst for conversation.
Catalyst, that's a good word. Because trying to describe a fantasy out of thin air can be, awkward, maybe embarrassing.
Totally. But if you see something visual, it gives you a starting point.
Yeah.
It's way easier to point and say, that looks interesting, or I wonder about that, than to build it all with words.
It kind of lowers the barrier to talking about desires.
It does. And it can also help normalize diverse sexual interests. Lots of people worry their desires are weird or uncommon. Seeing certain things portrayed, even if it's stylized, can help both partners see, okay, there's a huge range of what turns people on.
And what about for couples who've been together a long time? Maybe things have gotten a bit routine.
Yeah, for sure. Shared viewing can be a way to reignite intimacy.
How so?
Well, it introduces novelty, a shared stimulus, and there's often this element of doing something a bit shared and naughty together. That creates a sense of partnership, maybe a little adventure. It's your thing, exclusive to you two, and that shared secrecy can definitely boost arousal.
I also found the point about reducing sexual anxiety really interesting.
Yeah, that one's subtle but important. If there's a lot of performance pressure in the relationship, focusing too much on pleasing the partner or hitting some goal, shifting the focus to an external thing you're watching together can sometimes lighten that load.
So you're not just constantly self-monitoring or partner monitoring.
Exactly. It can allow for a more relaxed vibe, maybe leading more spontaneously into actual intimacy.
Okay, the sources also mentioned educational value, but with a huge grain of salt.
Massive grain of salt, yes. If you watch it critically, and that's a big if, maybe you see a new position or technique, but, and this is the major caveat, most mainstream porn is just a terrible source for realistic sex education. It's edited, it's performed, it often focuses only on certain kinds of climaxes, ignores crucial things like communication, consent within the scene, awkwardness, genuine connection. It's fantasy.
Right. It's like watching a Fast and Furious movie and thinking that's how you should merge onto the highway.
Exactly. It's pure fantasy built for maximum visual arousal, not a realistic portrayal of intimacy.
Which leads us perfectly into the potential downsides, the warnings. Because the potential harms are really significant. The sources are very clear. Mainstream porn often sets completely unrealistic expectations.
This is where that psychologically okay dimension often just breaks down. You're basically importing impossible ideals straight into your bedroom.
And that shows up how?
Well, two main ways, usually. First, the idealized body types. This is almost unavoidable. It just breeds body image issues, insecurity.
You're comparing real bodies to bodies often selected or even altered for the camera. It's a comparison no real person can win.
Precisely. And second, the unrealistic responses and endurance. The portrayal of sex as this super prolonged, always perfect theatrical event without any of the messiness or vulnerability of real intimacy.
That creates pressure, doesn't it?
Huge pressure. Pressure to mimic stamina that isn't real or specific responses that might be acted. It kind of weaponizes an impossible standard.
And often the emotional connection is just missing. It's decontextualized intimacy.
Right. Sex without the talking, the awkward bits, the vulnerability that actually makes real connection deep and meaningful.
And when you have those unattainable standards floating around, it easily leads to triggering insecurity and comparison. That's the danger zone.
That's the moment one partner starts thinking, am I not enough? Or do they find that person on screen more attractive than me? And those thoughts, if they fester, they can be incredibly damaging to self-esteem and the relationship itself.
We also have to talk about the ethical and moral concerns around the industry itself. These are really valid objections for a lot of people.
Absolutely. The sources stress that couples need to confront this. Many people have deep moral issues with documented problems like exploitation or coercion in parts of the industry.
So for them, just watching it feels wrong. ethically?
Exactly. Regardless of whether they watch alone or together, it violates their personal code. And that's before you even get to content that might show violence or degradation.
Which, obviously, if that clashes with your values.
Then it's an immediate no. If it violates that core moral dimension for either person, no amount of consent makes it truly okay for the relationship.
And one more risk the sources mentioned, the slippery slope.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. Shared viewing, even if it starts out healthily, could potentially normalize the behavior in a way that leads one partner down a path of compulsive solo viewing.
Where they start preferring the fantasy to the real thing.
Exactly. If the manufactured fantasy becomes more appealing than the complex reality of partnered sex, then that shared experiment has backfired pretty badly.
Wow. Okay, so given these really high stakes, big potential upsides, but also really serious potential downsides, the context becomes everything, right? Like how you watch and what you watch.
That's where the nuance is absolutely critical. The type of pornography you choose matters immensely.
How so?
Well, think about it. The experience and the potential impact of watching, say, mainstream, male gaze, hardcore stuff that might objectify women is going to be vastly different from watching something maybe female-directed or ethically produced or specifically designed for couples that focuses on mutual pleasure and connection.
So the choice of what you watch is actually a statement about your shared values.
Yeah.
Are you choosing something that reinforces connection or objectification?
That's a great way to put it, yes. And alongside that, you have to factor in individual differences. Personal history shapes reactions dramatically.
Like previous trauma.
Absolutely. For someone with a history of sexual trauma, any explicit visual could be a potent, harmful trigger. But even beyond trauma, just different upbringings, different things that turn you on different arousal templates mean that even watching the same thing, you won't have the same internal reaction as your partner.
Which brings us right back around to motivation. The why.
Always back to the why. If the reason is genuinely, let's explore together to enhance our connection, you're probably on safer ground. But if it's, I need this to get aroused anymore, or I want you to be more like that,
Then you're on the unhealthy side. Manipulation versus enhancement.
that's the bright line. It really is.
Okay, so if a couple listens to all this, weighs the pros and cons, checks their foundations, and decides they do want to try this, the sources don't just say good luck. They offer concrete advice, right? Practical steps.
Yeah, very practical recommendations for trying to make it a positive experience if you choose to go down that path.
Let's run through those. These feel like really actionable takeaways for listeners. Number one, absolutely non-negotiable. Talk first, watch later.
Cannot emphasize that enough. Have multiple conversations. Talk about desires, fears, boundaries. Get it all out on the table before you even think about pressing play. This isn't something to spring on someone spontaneously, at least not until the rules are crystal clear and agreed upon.
Okay. Second,
Start slowly. Don't jump into the deep end. Maybe start with something less intense, like erotic literature, or maybe more sensual films focused on couples and connection rather than just explicit acts.
third, I loved this piece of advice. Maintain connection.
Yes. While you're watching, stay physically connected, hold hands, touch, maybe glance at each other now and then.
Keep it grounded to the US in the room.
Exactly. It keeps the focus on your real connection, preventing you both from just getting lost solely in the screen.
And fourth, maybe the most important part for actually integrating this.
Yeah.
Debrief afterwards.
Crucial. The real intimacy happens after the screen goes dark. Talk about it. What did you like? What didn't you like? How did it make you feel? What thoughts did it spark? Use that discussion.
Use it as a springboard for deeper understanding.
Precisely. That conversation is what turns it from just watching something into a tool for enhancing your actual connection.
It ensures it stays a communication tool, not a communication replacement.
Perfect. And the final anchor, the ultimate safety net. Respect a no.
Always.
If at any point, before, during, or after, one partner says no, or I'm uncomfortable, or I don't want to do this again, that decision must be respected. Instantly. Fully. No arguments, no resentment. Pushing back, even slightly, it just shatters the trust and negates any possible benefit.
So let's try and wrap this up. Based on everything we've dug into from the sources, the final verdict seems to be, watching porn together is okay, only if it meets all those strict conditions.
Yeah, it has to be genuinely mutual, built on that solid foundation of enthusiastic, informed, revocable consent. And the core motivation has to be about enhancing an already healthy relationship.
Not trying to fix a broken one.
Exactly. It's not some badge of honor for being a liberated couple. It's just one potential tool among many. And whether that tool helps or harms depends entirely on the relationship using it, the skill, the intention, the care.
It sounds like the health of the relationship you bring to the activity pretty much dictates the outcome you'll get from it.
I think that's absolutely right. The focus has to stay on the real, messy, wonderful human connection right there in the room with you. Not get lost in the simple manufactured fantasy on the screen. If the fantasy starts to eclipse the reality, you've crossed a line. That feels like the central lesson here.
And maybe the provocative thought for you, the listener, is this. If you took the screen away, could you still have the conversation? If watching is just a shortcut to talking about tricky desires, what happens next? The real goal should always be fostering that open communication, whether there's media involved or not.
Well said. And one final important reminder from all the sources. If you're facing serious sexual challenges or relationship difficulties, this kind of information is interesting, but it's no substitute for professional help. Please seek out a qualified therapist or counselor.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us for this really important deep dive.
Until next time.